Good afternoon. It is Tuesday, January 30th, 2024. You know, Jesus interacted with individuals a lot differently than we sometimes could expect. He had a means of caring for people that, quite frankly, we could learn from. Several years ago, I had a young man that wanted to accompany on some pastoral visits so that he could learn how to be a pastor. And so I agreed, certainly. He was kind of young and excitable. And I said, but there's just one rule. I said, you need to sit down and be quiet and not say a word. But I want you to actively listen so that you can tell me the whole conversation afterwards. And he agreed. And so we went, the first person we visited was an elderly woman in the hospital who was recovering from surgery. And after a few minutes, I could tell the young man was just about to bust his britches trying to stay quiet. He had so much he wanted to say. Instead, the conversation went like this. We walked in and greeted her. And I said, what are they telling you? And for the next 15 minutes, she told her story. She talked about the way they're treating her, talked about the things that happened, mentioned her children's responses, how she got to see some of the grandchildren she hadn't seen for a while. And she just told us a marvelous story of how things were going for her. Very little about her medical condition, mostly about how she was interacting with the other people there. When she got through, I thanked her for sharing with us. We prayed together and left. And that young man was just bursting. He had so many words he had to get out. He says, I got to tell you. And so we sat and I listened to him, and he said all these things he wished he could have said at the moment. And I tried to get him to understand one thing. I said, young man, God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, and we need to use them in proportion. I said, this woman was not worried about her medical condition. She knew that was covered. She cared and concerned about the people who were important to her. And we got to listen to her tell us about the people that were important to her. And that had a much more advantageous healing effect than anything else we could have done. And I'm not sure he ever understood what I was trying to teach him that day. But we give it a shot. In Mark chapter 10, verses 50 to 52, Jesus speaks to the blind beggar and asks him a question that, quite frankly, nobody else seems to think it needed to be asked, but Jesus did. Mark chapter 10, verses 50 to 52, and I'm reading from the New Living Translation, second edition. It says, Bartimaeus threw aside his coat, jumped up, and came to Jesus. What do you want me to do for you? Jesus asked. My rabbi, the blind man said, I want to see. And Jesus said to him, go, for your faith has healed you. Instantly the man could see, and he followed Jesus down the road. Now, blind men do not easily discard important items. They don't just toss their valuable things willy-nilly. They can't find them again later, or it's very difficult for them to. They keep a hand on everything. And this man was so excited to see Jesus, he just tossed his cloak aside and went and got close. And then Jesus asked him a question. What do you want me to do for you? Jesus had absolutely no assumptions, absolutely no preconceived notions. He did not try and put words in the man's mouth. He didn't tell him what he was supposed to want. Just, what can I do for you? Oh, what a tremendous lesson that is, especially for those who want to be in the healing and caring type of ministries. Tell me what you want me to do for you. And then to do it. How much better so many of our healing, caring conversations would be if that's what we would do. And man responded, my rabbi, not just unknown, unnamed rabbi, not just teacher of the world, but my teacher, my rabbi. I want to see. He understood implicitly that Jesus had the ability to grant him sight. His faith was strong. His belief in the power of Jesus was amazing. I want to see. And Jesus says, go. Your faith has healed you. Instantly, he could see. We need to learn from Jesus. And that when we have conversations with people, to drop our assumptions and preconceptions and just listen. What do you want me to do for you? And then do it. This week, may you be involved in caring and healing conversations. God bless you.